Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 177 of the Seezus Show. We're back with another fun-filled episode, giving you the hottest topics in the NBA. Hope you guys enjoyed 176. Just to rehash with you guys, it was Carl Conyers and myself. We talked about his Detroit Pistons with Cade Cunningham going down with the collapsed lung, the Red Hot Lakers, Luka's dominance, Jay Will returning, and much, much more. Make sure to constantly continue to subscribe, rate, comment, share. And we're looking forward to another fun-filled episode. The NBA season is almost at an end, so we got some exciting content for you guys. But before we get into today's hottest topics, ladies and gentlemen, we have an introduction for Detroit's finest, the GOAT, the man, the myth, the legend. Make some noise for Carl Conyers.
What's good, my man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. How are you, man?
Hanging in there as best as I can. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, man. Same here, bro. Same here. Just trying to take it literally day by day and just make the best use of my time within those days and just allow myself to have that healthy balance of work, my outside endeavors as well too, you know? So, I feel blessed though at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying?
Same. I feel you. Could be worse.
Could be worse. And I'm waiting to lock in with Invincible. I don't know if you watched that. I watched the first episode of the latest season last night. I tried
Hmm.
to start episode two, fell asleep. So if I can get everything taken care of tonight, I'm gonna be on the lookout for that one. So I'm looking forward to that.
But yeah, I haven't started the new season yet, but it's on the horizon for sure.
Yeah, you should be fine. Because I feel like maybe or maybe not, your algorithms don't kind of gear towards that show us in general.
No, they definitely do, but I haven't seen.
No
I
spoilers or
have seen
anything.
some spoilers, but not like a whole lot. So
Okay,
it's
okay.
not terrible.
Yeah, apparently Wemby just went to well, I told you earlier, Wemby went to the locker room as well, and it looks like he has a bruised rib. So I'm a little nervous right now. Hopefully it's just like precautions because we're good enough to beat them. I mean, right now we up nine with 5 minutes to go. Obviously, the NBA is a game of runs, but after this, he's gonna need to play, I think, two more games to get to 65. So hopefully he gets there.
I mean,
But
bruised rib at least that's a pain tolerance injury, you know?
yeah, yeah, you can
So
put some protective, gear on as well too. Take a little shot.
yeah.
Because I'd rather him honestly play those two games. And actually, I think tonight would mark 64, and then I think he has to play one more, which would be 65. So I see a scenario where he kind of thugs it out, plays next game, and then we got the two seed clinched, essentially. I mean, not essentially, we do have it clinched, so ain't no point of playing no more. Since you get that 65 threshold and you're eligible for all the major awards. So hopefully good. Like I said earlier, I got kind of scared with Stephon Castle, but when you're young, especially with those genetics, the whole human psychology and physiology, they be good. They be bouncing back fast. But speaking of injuries, Carl Conyers, going on to our first topic, the Los Angeles Lakers, Carl Conyers, are facing a major crisis heading into the 2026 postseason as both Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves have been ruled out for the remainder of the regular season. Following that game last week, which we were hyped up about, MVP Shea versus Luka, OKC versus the Lakers. Luka Doncic has been diagnosed with a grade 2 hamstring strain, and right now he's out indefinitely. Obviously, he's not going to be back for the regular season, and obviously he has not made the 65 game threshold. He stopped at 64 games, but right now. He's seeking specialized medical treatment, including an injection procedure to expedite his return to the playoffs. And Austin Reeves has a grade 2 left oblique muscle injury, which is a partial tear, and he underwent an MRI as well too. Carl Conyers, what are your thoughts on this situation with both of their focal points of that franchise and the state of the Lakers going into the postseason?
I mean, it's tough. This is literally like the worst case scenario, like the absolute worst case scenario. I think it's a wrap for them, to be real. And it sucks because to me, this has nothing to do with how they perform during the season. It's just most teams aren't going to be able to succeed without their best and I would say Austin is their third best player. So like you have your one and your three gone. And now your best player is a 41-year-old. So, and he played really well. Like there was last night, he had like 39 and 15, 31, 9 and 15, and it still wasn't enough for them to beat the Mavs. And it just shows, I mean, most teams with Luka are going to be decently top heavy because you can afford to be if you have him out there. But now you don't. And then you also have another 20 point per game scorer out in Austin Reeves. So if maybe if they were in the East, I might feel different. Probably not, but absolutely not in the West. I just don't see them being able to beat anybody in the first round. If it looks like Reeves is for sure going to miss most of that first series, and Luka, I know, went to Europe to try and get a second opinion, but I still don't know if he's going to be able to play in that first game or two of that series. And then even if he does come back, what is he going to look like, his conditioning and stuff like that. So um, I just I think it's too big of a hurdle to overcome when the margin for error is so small.
Yeah, man. I agree with you. Like the whole reason for their success obviously was because of them two, but more importantly, more so Luka Doncic and then LeBron James having the humility to kind of go to the third option. Even though he's 41, he can still play at a high level and be that first, second option. But it just meant more for the overall success of the team itself. Now you're asking him to try to go back and turn the clock. I mean, no one expects it, but he has to be the number one option now. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Right now, I mean, it's pretty much set in stone. They're most likely, well, not even most likely, because you and I were talking about that earlier. We for sure thought in the hypothetical, if Luca and Austin Reeves didn't get hurt, they were for sure gonna get that number three seed. Like they were kind of running away with it and had a little bit of cushion. But I think Denver and Houston might actually get that 3-4, and then the Lakers might 4-5, 4-5. I think ideally for them, you kind of want to match up against Houston. Um, and yeah, you kind of want to match up with Houston. It wouldn't be the worst case, especially if we anticipate Luca or Reeves coming back at some point in the series, a matchup against Minnesota. Minnesota obviously has been to the Western Conference Finals the last 2 years, and this year their team's a little bit different. Mike Conley has continued to regress, and I feel like losing Shea's cousin, Nikhil Alexander Walker, I think that's another L for them because everything's going to be kind of predicated on the success of Anthony Edwards. So it's been proven when you can kind of take the ball out of his hands since they lack another true playmaker. I mean, Julius Randle can do only but so much. I mean, obviously he played pretty well against the Lakers, but the Lakers somewhat revamped. I think that's probably your best shot right there. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to work in their favor because one thing I liked about the Lakers so much, even though they kind of weren't the best defensive minded team, the playoffs is really about like when you slow the game down to try to generate as much good looks in the half court set. And I just feel like with that tandem, with Luka Doncic, with LeBron James, and Austin Reeves, you were going to get an efficient shot almost every single possession, whether it's in the half court or in transition when they force turnovers. And now that all that is on LeBron James' shoulders, so I really don't know who's going to step up. I know overseas they be having top tier medicine with less restrictions and all that stuff. Kobe, T Mac, all these D Wade, all them went over there before, but I just don't think it's realistic, especially since it's a grade two to come back. Because you remember when James Harden was playing on that grade two a couple of years ago in Brooklyn, he made it worse. And as far as like his athleticism with his explosiveness going downhill, going from point A to point B, he was never the same after he left that situation in Brooklyn. And we don't want Luka Doncic to force himself back just to get it even worse. Because when you get grade three, like that's nasty. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, his game isn't really built on athleticism whatsoever, but you still need some of that, especially being this young and especially with the Lakers, like that being their franchise player long term. He's still relatively pretty young. So yeah, I think it's a lost season. It's unfortunate because he's been playing some damn good basketball. But I mean, that's a part of the game, right? Injuries are a part of the game. So we'll see what happens. I know LeBron's going to give you a couple vintage games, but like I said, I don't think it's going to be enough because I don't think they have enough pieces to compensate for like what you said, those high usage players in Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic.
Yeah, it's crazy too because it's like if this was 10 years ago, and the West is a little different, but if this is 10 years ago and he was in the East, LeBron would have a chance to take this team to the finals, like, and that's really crazy how good he was. Like, and I'm not mad at him not being able to do that at 41, but just shout out to Prime LeBron, bro.
Mm, damn, that's crazy. Um, yeah, man. So moving on to the next topic is your team. Kind of just wanted to put the spotlight on you with the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons, Carl Conyers, officially clinched the number one seed in the Eastern Conference for the 2025-2026 NBA season. And this is going to mark the first time that the Pistons have secured the top seed and home court advantage. Um, since 2006 2007 season. So the milestone is particularly notable given the team's rapid turnaround. Just 2 seasons ago, Detroit finished with only 14 wins. And then you just sent me a graphic too in the final week of the NBA regular season, and there's still so much at stake. 19 of the 20 postseason teams have yet to clinch their seed, and you guys are that team that clinched their seed. Got to give y'all your flowers. Got to give y'all a round of applause as well too. What are your thoughts on you guys getting the top seed?
It's crazy, bro. I mean, there's no way, like, and I love the Pistons. I'm a pretty big Pistons fan, but I don't even think the most staunch Pistons fans at the beginning of the season would have seen this coming. We were all thought we were a good team, but to not only lock up the number one seed, but have it locked up and no one else has their seed locked up right now, like being the one team where it's like, yeah, nobody can catch us is really crazy. Um, so I mean, it's amazing. The turnaround is really crazy. That's kind of, I'll get into a little bit when we get into our yearly awards. I think that this turnaround is also deserving of some of that, but it's really amazing. We have a good, strong defensive culture, and then of course have a great leader in Cade, but have a lot of guys who've been willing and able to step up whenever Cade or some of our other players have missed time. So I know when Cade first went down, everyone was like, "Oh, we're probably going to lose that seed to Boston." And it wasn't even really that close. We didn't really lose a whole lot of ground. So shout out to the rest of the roster for picking up the slack. Cade was listed as doubtful for our next game, so that at least the fact that they're even putting him on the injury report lets me know he probably will be back in time. I feel like in time for game one of this first round series. So I think this is also going to be the year where we get to see the Pistons get out of the first round since I don't know how long it's been, but I know it's been at least probably 10, 15 years since we've been out of the first round.
Yeah, man. Ideally, I would like for the seedings to kind of stay where they're at, and I would love for you guys to play up and coming, excited Charlotte Hornets team that's been playing pretty well as of late. One of the best records, post All-Star break, and they're on a 4-game winning streak right now. I think that'll be a nice, exciting test. And like you said, the fact that he was actually listed on the injury report gives you no level of a cause of a concern, and it makes you think he's going to be ready for game one. Obviously, you guys have the number one seed kind of clinched, so there's really no matter of kind of playing your rotational pieces those heavy minutes. But I think it would be nice. It would be cool if you can get like a game in right beforehand. But honestly, actually change my mind. Stay rested, get locked in because they're gonna need him. So I really hope that is a matchup. Like I said, proud of you guys as well too. And like you said, I definitely thought Boston was gonna catch you guys to get the number one seed. And every damn time I checked the box score, you motherfuckers always had a W in that column. So I gotta show y'all some love as well too. So yeah, proud of Detroit, proud for that small market, happy for you and that entire fan base, man. Um, I wonder if this marriage is going bad with the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo, Carl Conyers. Essentially Giannis and the Bucks reached a critical breaking point, I'd say, with Giannis publicly comparing the situation to a marriage that needs couples therapy. So essentially, tensions have escalated as the 2025-2026 season ends with Milwaukee right now being 31 and 47, missing the playoffs for the first time in a decade. Essentially, obviously, Giannis a little while back got a left knee hyperextension. But essentially the staff basically said he wasn't ready to play, but he felt that he was ready to play. So right now the NBA is launching an investigation for potential violations on player participation policy, and the league is essentially scrutinizing whether the Bucks are intentionally tanking or forcing the star to sit against his will, obviously because he may or may not be out of here in the off season. So he feels like it's a slap in the face. He feel like he was born to play. He feels disrespected by the organization, and that's how it's going, man. But what are your thoughts on Giannis' latest with the Bucks going back and forth? Like, yeah, give me your 2 cents.
I mean, I definitely think like you said, it's a wrap, on this. If they go into next season, the status quo, I think that's kind of a failure as an organization, to be honest, at this point. Um, unless they're able to pull off some crazy signing or some crazy trade that they don't really have the assets to, it just feels like the best way for Milwaukee to move forward is to get a giant haul for Giannis. And the best way for Giannis to move forward and contend is for them to trade him elsewhere. He came out earlier this week or at the beginning of the week, but last week and said that those Knicks rumors were true about them potentially trading him to the Knicks. So, I think that there's some credence he might end up there. But yeah, I mean, if you already Giannis's team are the main ones who, put the league on notice of like, hey, he's trying to play basically, and they're not letting him play. So I think when you're doing something like that, like this relationship is really irreparable. He did say he's trying to get back for like the last regular season game so he can play with both of his brothers because that's something that's never been done before. But outside of that, like it just doesn't seem like there's anything else that needs to happen with these two together. Like at this point, I feel like the time has come. It just is what it is. Not everything lasts forever. Everybody wishes they could be Steph and Kobe and some of these other players, but the thing that's tough is even when you mention a lot of the greats, pretty much all of the recent greats who have stayed with one team, they've gone through really bad periods. Like Steph, they missed the playoffs 2 years in a row. Kobe, there was a period of time in the in between where when he was averaging like 30 some points a game because they sucked, where he was thinking about leaving. And then, of course, at the end of his career, they were really bad. Dirk, they were not that's how they ended up getting Luka, like they were bad towards the end of his career. So I think the difference is Giannis still feels like I'm really a contender right now. Um, and I just think the situation that the team has put itself in with the moves they tried to make in the past couple of years has left them so bereft of assets and other talent that I just don't see any way for them to move forward together.
Yeah, I think it's time for him to rock. Do they have their draft pick for this upcoming draft?
I don't know. I don't think
Yeah,
I hope so, but I don't
I
think.
will hope so too, because in my head it's just like obviously he didn't re-up on that contract extension. So I think he's gonna have 2 years left on his contract. So he pretty much has a good amount of leverage into trying to decide where he goes to. Obviously, if you're a team, you don't want to give up too much. But I feel like the fact that he can kind of narrow down where he wants to go, like I said, give him that advantage. And I think the Bucks are like the ninth or tenth worst team. So I mean, we were kind of around that situation last year, and we magically got the second pick. And even look at the Dallas Mavericks, magically got the first pick. So I think it's one of those things where they're looking at their future. They know he's not there, and they're just like, hey, we're gonna try to get some assets. Obviously, he's a top three player when healthy, top five, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna try to get some assets back for him, but also let's kind of ensure that we get a lottery pick, or even go as far as the top five pick, depending if it lands our way, and just rebuild from there. So it's definitely a conflict of interest. I feel like the league's going to investigate it, but the way it's going, they're going to make sure like they're set up for success post Giannis, especially with these expansions coming relatively pretty soon. So definitely, I think that was his last game. I don't see him playing no more, and I'm looking forward to see the future, what the future holds for him. I would love is to see him go to the Knicks, man. I would love to see him go to the Knicks. I feel like in that market, he's going to become even more polarizing as a player. Cat's cool and all that, Brunson's cool and all that, but we talking about an international star, and that's the international market of the NBA in New York. So that would be nice. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, man, it be like that sometimes, man. That's why I be saying like, don't be getting mad about the players sometimes, because sometimes it be the organization that be doing all that shit on the low. So
Also, real quick, I looked it up and yeah, so the Bucks, their pick for this year, Atlanta owns the more favorable of Milwaukee and New Orleans first round pick. And and so Milwaukee basically will receive the less favorable of the two. And also New Orleans has the right to swap with Milwaukee. So basically, whatever pick they end up with this year is probably going to end up being like 20 or something like that. Like they're not going
that
to be able to
sucks.
actually, yeah, convert off of being so bad this year.
Damn, damn. Yeah, man, that's tough when you put it like that, bro. Milwaukee's cooked. Milwaukee is cooked. So yeah, we're gonna continue to monitor this going into the off season. But yeah, he's done all he can for that organization. Hopefully, you know, he ends up in a team. He ends up with a team with the essentially ready-made roster. He's that final piece that they kind of need without taking too much away. But it's kind of hard when you're a super max player. You're gonna have to give up to get something back. Moving on from that, your GOAT, Steph Curry, returned. He only played 40 games this year. He's been gone for quite some time. Obviously, he had runner's knee. I think he's been out since February, a little bit before All-Star break, but he came back in his return against Houston. They didn't get the W, but in limited minutes, 26 minutes, I believe, he had 29 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, was a little over 50% from the field and 50% from three. So it looks like he came back and it was no rust at all. Only a few players can kind of do that, and he's one of them. And also during the game, he became the 26th player in NBA history to record 900 career field goals made as well, too. Obviously, right now, it's still something to play for with the Golden State Warriors being locked into that 10 seed. So they're guaranteed at least one game and they can try to push to get that final 8 seed. But what are your thoughts on Steph Curry returning? And do you think, knowing that Jimmy Butler's out, knowing they traded for Kuminga to get Porzingis back, we didn't think Porzingis may or may not be playing no more. He's been looking pretty decent as of late these last like 10 or so games. Do you think with Steph back, they have enough to at least get to the 8 seed?
But you said he had 900 career field goals made. What was it?
9,000 career field goals made.
9,000. Okay, okay. I was gonna say, yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I'm happy to see Steph back. That's for sure. And I think every time Steph gets on the court, he reminds people, but I think he reminded them again last night because he had like 29 and 20 something minutes and almost won them the game. And honestly, he might have got a decent shot if Pods didn't just, I don't know if you've seen the clip, but Draymond called for Pods to set like a double screen and he just didn't. He just stayed on the wing. So then Steph had to take this tough ass shot over like a couple defenders. Um, but I mean, the dude is great. Like he's really, really good. He's good for the game. I'm happy that he came back, that we're gonna get to at least see him playing these playing games, hopefully more than one. Um, Porzingis has looked decent in the games that he's played. Um, but to me, that's, more of a move that can potentially be good for them for whatever they're trying to do next year. Um, and yeah, the Jimmy situation, I don't know how they're like this summer is gonna be probably the most important summer of his career since the KD summer, I feel like. Because this
Mm,
summer will really depend, like, I feel like this summer will decide, like, okay, are you actually going to contend at any other point in your career, or are you just here playing? And that's on the team, like that's on the team if they decide to actually do the right things. But it's yeah, at the end of the day, great to have him back. You know, you have to really take advantage of this time that we have with a lot of these older players, LeBron, Steph, KD. Um, and yeah, man, Steph is one of the GOATs, that's for sure.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you can tell he's still a top 10 player when he's healthy, right? And it's just like you can tell in his eyes, like you say, he's one of the greats. He wants to compete, at least have a chance. And right now, with the situation, it just doesn't look like they have a chance. Jimmy Butler probably not gonna be back until and he older too, so probably not until like post All-Star break next year. Um, so yeah, he has a huge decision to make. I think he has 1 year left 2026, 2027 season, making $62 million, which is 38% of their cap space. So yeah, Golden State is gonna have a decision to make. If you're playing GM, right? What do you do um for that organization?
I mean, if I'm playing GM, honestly, if I'm playing GM, there's a lot of things I would have did differently. They've just been really awful.
Especially their draft picks.
Post. Honestly, I want to say post this last championship, but they really weren't that great before that championship. They just kind of got lucky with some stuff. Because Kaminga and Moody and some of these other guys were on that championship team, like Wiseman as well, you know. So he might have been on the team, but they had drafted him prior to that. So they fucked up. Like they were bad for a couple of years. They had all these high picks and like they really picked all the wrong people. Again, I like Moody. I think Moody is a good rotational player, but he's also going to be out now for maybe all of next year too with the bad injury that he suffered. And then yeah, Wiseman and Kaminga just were not like yeah, not it. So if I'm the GM and I'm trying any and everything to get some talent there. That means I need to trade Draymond to get, I don't know if he's a free agent, but get him off the books. I do think one of the good things they did was not re-signing Clay because although Clay is still playing and is a decent player, not for the amount of money that he wanted. Um, I think that honestly the best thing probably would be to try and trade Jimmy Butler, but I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know who wants to take on that salary knowing he's going to be out for most of the year and they might have to give up assets in order to do that. Um, but the Giannis thing, like that's huge. If I can land that, that would be where all my chips would go. I think that Steph and Giannis and they always have some decent role players on their teams. I think that would be formidable. And I think that would be fun. I think that's a big thing too with the Warriors. I want to watch them play fun basketball. Like that to me has been the Warriors experience for a while. And of course that you have fun when you're good, but it's just not really been super exciting to outside of Steph. Like Steph is fun to watch play, but that's kind of been about it. It feels like everything has been a struggle for them these past couple of years.
Mm. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. So obviously, we only have a few more games left, called Conyers, but let's go ahead and get into our predictions because I feel like the voters pretty much have their mind made up. So why not us make up our minds? First, who is your MVP for this season, Carl Conyers?
I got Shay. Do you have your man's?
I got Shea too, bro.
Okay.
I got Shea too. 31 points per game, 7 assists, 4.5 rebounds. And I think they're saying uh, this is the highest field goal percentage for a guard that's averaged over 30 points, which is kind of crazy. Obviously, he broke Wilt Chamberlain's record with 20 points. But overall, his efficiency, his assist to turnover ratio, I looked up as well too, is 3-1, which is pretty elite being a primary ball handler in this day and age as well too. They were showing his advanced metric with plus minus, but going off of the season that he had last year, them having the overall best record in the NBA, that could be up for discussion if Cade never got hurt. But having the best record in the NBA, and just being super dominant and having your main pieces who've gotten paid miss a good amount of time. So J Dub, also Chet, Alex Caruso, even Hartenstein missed a little bit of time to still be a well-oiled machine. Speaks to how great he is, and also speaks to how great that organization is ran as well too. So I gotta give it to Shea. I gotta give it to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So he's gonna be another back-to-back uh, MVP. And it's gonna be kind of crazy, Carl Conyers. If he does a two-peat on some Jordan shit where he wins MVP, Finals MVP, and a chip back to back, that's crazy. That's crazy. Some people gonna be talking about other people they put over him, like a D Wade and some other shit. But that's a topic of a conversation for another day.
I'm real
Oh,
quick. I'm glad you brought up that field goal percentage because I just looked it up. I didn't realize he was shooting 55% from the field, bro. That's insane for a guard. Like he taking as many jump shots as he takes. 55% is nuts.
That's OD. It's like it's guaranteed to go in. So
Yeah.
what's the game plan gonna be against this guy? You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be crazy the playoffs, man. But shout out to him. And they had, obviously that they had that little straw poll, and they said ever since 2020, whenever they've had that straw poll, it's been accurate as far as like the MVP race has been. So it's looking like it's going to him. He's one of my favorite players. I can't be mad at it. But just know next year that alien coming for that shit.
For sure. For sure.
Moving on from that, I think it's unanimous, but I just want to hear from you. Who's your defensive player of the year?
It's Wimby. You know that. Like,
It's Victor Wembanyama. Knock on wood, bruised rib. Hope he comes back. He a tough dog. He was with the monks last year. He gonna be okay. He been through blood clots. He been through all that, so he gonna be good. But yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to him, and I think he's gonna be the first player ever, if he plays that, if he gets to those 65 games, which we think he will, to be unanimous in the Defensive Player of the Year award. Obviously, led the league in blocks, 3.1 per game, and the Spurs ended up being a top three defensive team. So I got to give it to him because when you not only look at the stats, when you actually watch the game and you show and you see from the eye test, he covers so much ground because he's so lengthy, and for a guy that's so tall, he can move pretty laterally and guard the 1 through 5 if he needs to as well. And you have to change your game plan with him as well too. So I gotta give it to Wemby. He said he wanted, he gonna get it. And if he stays healthy the way in which I think he should be, the amount of I don't even know how many awards freaking Rudy Gobert has won, maybe 3 or 4 by now. He might get that shit for the next decade. Like no jokes aside, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm gonna give it to him. I know your answer for this, but I'm gonna still ask you anyways. Who is your coach of the year?
bro, to me, this one should be as obvious as the Wimby one. And the things I've been seeing is it doesn't seem like it's a slam dunk, but it should be JB Bickerstaff, bro. Like to take the Pistons to clinching the 1 seed in the East for the first time since '07, off a year we had a first round exit and we were like the sixth or seventh seed, something like that. Um, I just think that nobody expected this from us this year, and we are proving that we deserve to be that number 1 seed as well. Like it doesn't feel like it's a fluke or anything like that. And to me, that type of improvement, like, yeah, our players have played better, but I just think the coaching is a huge part of it.
Mm. Yeah, man, I was torn, but I knew you were gonna pick them as well too, so I wanted to switch it up as well. I'm gonna go with my guy. I'm gonna go with Miss Johnson, to go for my team having the number 2 pick. Obviously, things kind of fell in our hand, with acquiring Darren Fox late last year. He goes down with finger injury, and then Wemby has the blood clot. To go from winning 32 games to tonight, we clinched to get 60 and counting. I think, and him being an interim coach last year, obviously with everything that went on with Pop, this whole turnaround, I gotta show him some love as well too. And obviously the biggest component of him having the second overall best record in the entire NBA is Wemby. But to not only have Wemby and have your team propelled, like their team got propelled, our team got propelled to the third ranked defensive team according to stats. And when you look at the team, they just play great team defense. And that has to be also attributed to effort from the individual player, but also game planning and just having trust in that coach. Because when I name these players, a Devin Vassell, a Julian Champagny, a Keldon Johnson, a De'Aaron Fox, Luke Cornett, you don't really think of them as defensive minded specialists, but to have them go up like this, I have to be proud of him. And I know we got a few veterans. Keldon Johnson, he's never played winning basketball. De'Aaron Fox only had 1 year winning basketball, honestly, in the playoffs as well, too. Harrison Barnes, who's essentially a mercenary at this point as well, too. And then Luke Cornett, obviously, he wasn't playing too much with the Celtics, but to have those veterans blended with that young talent and to see how much they've grown from last year to this year, especially in clutch time, they actually look like a playoff team that can actually make a deep run. So I gotta give love to my boy, Miss Johnson.
I will just say Harrison Barnes has played a lot of winning basketball.
No, I said, yeah, I basically said he's the
Oh,
only one that's been a mercenary
okay.
that's been playing winning basketball. But other than that, like
Yeah.
Luke Cornett really wasn't too much a part of Boston rotation, even though he was part of winning. And then like I said, the other one's Keldon Johnson. We ain't never make the
Yeah.
playoffs during him, et cetera, et cetera. Who, Carl Conyers, is your rookie of the year?
This is a tough one, but I am going to go with Khan just from the season long standpoint. I feel like Cooper Flag kind of ebbed and flowed. Like it took him a little minute to play up to his potential, and he was playing like that for a while. And then I think he kind of hit that rookie wall and fell off for a little bit. Then, of course, now he's back popping up where he's had like these 40 and 50-point games. So, Cooper clearly is going to be the better player long term. Like that's not even, in the a question. But I don't think that's what rookie of the year is. It's who had the best year this year. And to me, like, start to finish, I feel like Khan has just played with a level of consistency. And, I don't think this is the only thing, but I do think it matters that he played winning basketball and impacted a team, propelled his team from being a laughing stock of the league for the last several years to now like they're one of the hottest teams in the league. And that I just don't think is possible without him. So that's what I went with.
Yeah, I figure you're gonna pick them as well too. I was torn as well, but I also feel like you can't take away any credit from Khan, right? Great year, great, amazing year. But I also do feel like you are also a product of your environment as well too. I feel like if you put Dylan Harper in that situation, if you put Cooper Flag in that situation, I think they could put up that level of productivity. But also at the end of the day, I realize he's also a specialist
He's a
too.
shooter,
But
yeah.
having a point guard really, really matters. I mean, look at how the Houston Rockets are kind of struggling. Obviously, LaMelo Ball has been injured the past couple years, but it looks like he's coming into his own as far as Steph being a little bit durable with those ankles as well too. So maybe they had some chats on the side. But I do think it kind of helps that he is a specialist and he's playing behind one of the best young point guards in LaMelo and also has some assistance from Brandon Miller as well too. And I feel like with Cooper Flag coming in as the number one pick, you're thinking you're going to play. You're thinking Kyrie's potentially going to come back. You're thinking you're going to have the year with AD, and there's not as much pressure to start off as a wing to get thrown into the limelight as being a point guard under Jason Kidd's system, and to kind of pretty much match expectations, being a number one pick, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. I gotta give it to him. Is there as well too. So you can't go wrong with either or. But just to play devil's advocate, I'm gonna rock with my Duke boy with Cooper Flag.
Okay.
So Carl Conyers, who's your sixth man of the year?
This one, honestly, I feel like this is kind of one of the weakest years for six man of the year in recent memory. Like, there's nobody. I feel like at this point, there's a lot of people that usually they're like, okay, this is the person, or there's these couple of people or something. This
Mm,
year, from like everything I've been seeing, it's really just down to Jaime and Keldon Johnson.
yeah.
And I'm gonna go with Jaime just because he's like 15, 5 and 5 off the bench. Keldon is like 13 and 4, I think, or something like that, and he doesn't have the same assists. Um, so yeah, that's again, I'm not really even too happy about making that pick, to be honest with you, but
Yeah.
there just hasn't been like a crazy six-man year, and I think, everything considered, I'm gonna take Jaime.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with another Spurs player yet again. Yeah, I'm going with Keldon Johnson. Historically, for the most part of his career, has been a starter. Knowing that there's been so much transition with this team the past couple of years since the Wemby era to kind of take that back seat, you got to give him props. He is the heart and soul of that team. Everybody has their quote unquote like Draymond Green heart and soul. Obviously, you guys know who yours is for Detroit. I think ours is Keldon Johnson. So to like I said, showcase that humility, come off the bench, like you said, averaging 13 points, 5 rebounds, 52% from the field, 37% from three. Us, he's one of the main reasons why we are the number two seed, and he's been shown to be pretty reliable, playing over 75 games and having us being second best in the West. I got to show my boy some love. Carl Conyers, who is your most improved player of the year if you have one?
Oh yeah, to me, this one isn't really close. It's Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Bro was averaging
Ooh.
like single-digit points last year, and now he's averaging almost 20 on a good team. Like the Hawks are a good team. And he is hooping. It really is. To me, yeah, it's not even really close. I got Shay's cousin.
It's crazy. I thought about that as well too. And it's crazy because you saw flashes of what he could do last year, almost kind of like the James Harden situation back in the day when he was in OKC. Then you finally put him on another team, you'd be like, damn. So
I,
even that's why this year, when we were talking earlier about like the Lakers potentially matching up with Minnesota, I'm just like, damn, imagine if y'all still had Nikhil Alexander Walker and you paid him and you let that man go. I think that could have been a nice little duo, dynamic duo in the backcourt, and you could have afforded him.
Yeah.
So I
I'm
kind of felt like
looking
you were gonna go with that.
real quick
Uh,
before you
mhm,
go. I'm looking like he averaged 9.5 points last year.
mhm,
This year he's averaging 20, and he's doing it on better field goal percentage from the field and from three.
mm.
And now he's shooting 90. He shot 78% free throws last year. This year he's shooting 90. So yeah, I just that's like an 11 point per game jump. I don't think
Yeah,
anybody is matching that.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. Like I said, he was so close to me, but I went with the first time All-Star in Denny for the Portland Trail Blazers. Obviously, he increased his points by 7 points per game. Last year, 16.9. This year, 23.9. Is looking like a poor man's potential Luka type of player. Portland faced a lot of injuries. They're going to obviously have a lot of decisions to make with that roster, especially being guard heavy. Obviously, with Dane coming back, they got Drew Holiday, Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp obviously been out since February. But to have this team potentially make the playoffs in a year where I thought they were going to be like last five, even though they had some pieces you think they could play with, but just based on what we saw last year, I gotta give him some props as well too. His game actually translates to winning. So I gotta show him some love. But I said, I was super close. But I was like, let me just choose someone else. Um, do you have a clutch player of the year?
I went with Shea on this one, but I'm gonna be honest, this year didn't feel like, there's clearly been several years in the past, especially in the past couple of years, where it's like, okay, this person he hit. I remember him hitting X amount of game winners throughout the course of the season and stuff like that. I don't feel like there's been anyone like that this year. I don't feel like there's been someone who it's like, oh yeah, you've hit. Like, I think we also been spoiled by like Dame and Steph and some of these other guys. Um, and to be fair, I think the Thunder have been so dominant this year, it's harder for him to be as clutch. Um, but yeah, I just didn't really. To me, this was the one award where nobody really like even more than six man to me, where it's like nobody really stood out. But I went with Shea.
Yeah, I was torn between Shea and Jamal Murray as well too, but I'm just focused on Shea. Led the league in scoring, obviously, but he also led the league in clutch points. So 175 clutch points, averaging 6.5 clutch points per game, and that's been tracked since 1996. He in clutch time is also 67%, which is ridiculous on his Mamba mentality. Um, Perfect streak. They said in late March, SGA went on a remarkable run where he did not miss a single shot in the fourth quarter or overtime for over 2 weeks, going 11-11 from the field. And obviously, with winning impact under his leadership, the Thunder have a 24-10 record in the clutch, the second best winning percentage in the entire NBA. So those are the major awards by Carl Conyers and myself. Any closing remarks?
I'm excited, man. We got, that list that I sent you. There's so many of these seeds that are still up in the air, and I think it's gonna be fun into the regular season for everybody but the Pistons. Pistons, we already cool. We can really rest everybody if
We
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 want to.
chilling, okay.
Hey. But no, man, it's exciting, and I'm excited for these playoffs. I am. I feel like this is. Of course, we have some favorites in each conference, but there's a lot of talent in the league right now.
Yeah,
Um, which is, another thing we might discuss later, is the expansion stuff, but I know some people have been kind of against it. I think that this is like the perfect time. I think there's so much talent in the league right now. So I'm excited.
yeah. Because you're gonna get a motherfucker like Cam Thomas finally getting minutes.
Yep.
Um, no, I agree with you. I'm excited for the playoffs. It's a bummer with how the Lakers may most likely be going down, but aside from that, like you said, it looks like all things point to K coming back. So to have a nice little, like I said, like getting the best seed, finally getting a home court advantage. Obviously, last year you guys could have beat the Knicks, but the rest be on some bullshit. To see him come back and go up against, like I said, I wanted to stay how it is now. Like, can you see like you said, you gave Rookie of the Year to Conkanopo. LaMelo finally looks healthy. Him and Brandon Miller look like one of the like a dominant, backcourt. That's going to be exciting. Jason Tatum's back as well too. In the past couple games, he's been playing efficient. Obviously, his jumper's probably been is going to take the longest to kind of come back fully, but he's always kind of been a streaky shooter. But his efficiency these last couple games have been scary. Obviously, Philly lost tonight, but they just got Joel Embiid back. Paul George came back. Paul George been looking great as well too. That's something that's exciting. I like the Knicks, Toronto, the Raptors. They've had a little bit of retooling with those wings.
Toronto ain't doing
Cleveland,
nothing.
Atlanta, you just talked about Nickeil Alexander-Walker potentially being most improved. So Eastern Conference is shaped up to look low key a little bit more exciting than the West in its entirety. But the playoffs gonna be lit though. The playoffs gonna be lit. But obviously, playing starts next week. Looking forward to that. And that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. That was episode 177 of the Seezus Show. Make sure to subscribe on all forms of social media at Carl Conyers, at Sir Seezus, at the Seezus Show. We out.